In my Unity tutorial thingy, I will be talking to you about how to launch your first multi-platform game and how to approach it, basically. Um, to do this, I'm going to bring up one of my games, a small game I made in Unity for school, and why I chose to make it the way I made it, and why I think you should think about doing the same thing. Let's begin. Um, Mobile games are currently growing to a point where they're basically getting as popular as console or PC games. And when going to the App Store or the Android Store and you look at the popular games like Angry Birds, Little Wings, Temple Run, or stuff like Candy Crush Saga, they all have one thing in common. And this is that they're all easy to pick up and play. You don't have to read through endless amounts of tutorials, and you don't have to click on four different places on your mobile platform while playing the game. This is an extremely smart design choice because when you start out, let's say you're going to make a Unity game, and your original thought is you're going to make it for the PC, see how well it does, and then you're going to port it over to different consoles and mobile platforms. Now, this is possible. You can actually make a game for the consoles or for a PC and then port it over to a mobile platform, but here lies the issue. On a PC, you've got a keyboard, mouse, and a lot of functionality. With that, you've got so many buttons. And one issue if you were to create a game for the PC and port it over to the mobile platform is the fact that you're going to have to compromise. And let's take an iPhone as an example. Once I wanted to try to see if it was possible to play a first-person shooter on my iPhone, so I bought one of the Modern Combat games. And yes, it looked beautiful, and the menus were fluid and everything seemed fine, until I actually started playing the game. Here lies the issue. I had a virtual joystick on my left and 3 button places to click on my right at the same time as I actually had to move one finger over the screen to aim. This is a terrible design. It doesn't matter if your game is good, at least very few people are going to be bothered playing through an entire game where the thing they'll see the most is their own fingers. When you look at games like the Candy Crush Saga or Angry Birds or Little Wings, most of those games can be played with 1, maximum 2 fingers. This makes it incredibly easy for new players to just pick it up and play. People do not want to read tutorials. People do not want to have to sit down and spend 20 minutes learning your game before playing it. They want to sit down, they want to play it. And this is where my game comes in. As you can see, I've made a Diablo clone, you could say, when it comes to the controls, with basic shapes. This was designed for the mobile platforms, and considering the fact that I actually have to port this over to web and I have to show it working on web and a mobile device later this year, this was a good idea. Because when you look at it now, you just click where you want to go and the cube will move there. On a mobile device, it's the exact same thing. You click your finger on the screen and the cube will move to your finger. You can also hold your mouse button and drag the cube around. This good thing about this is, since I created this originally for a mobile platform, it's going to be a lot easier for me to port it over to, let's say, a console if I wanted to, because of the fact that I've made this game within the mobile world. It works well on a mobile phone, and then porting it over to a console will be easy because of the fact that it's already made simple. And it's not like you're going to lose buttons moving from a mobile platform over to a console. You'll just be able to put the little you've got on your controller. So let's say if I had an Xbox controller, I'd only need to use both of the sticks. One to move, and then one to select restart and quit buttons. Now, to talk about the game. When it comes to my gameplay, I made it really simple. You move the cube, you find the red ball, you push the red ball into the red wall, revealing something that I like to call a friend cube. You then push the friend cube, and you push it to the goal. This is my demo. It's short and simple. And because of the fact that I made it so simple, it's easy to pick up and play, and you can always try to be quicker, and you can always try to find a faster route to the main goal. I'm not saying that complicated games on your mobile app or mobile platform can't be successful. I mean, the Modern Combat series and the FIFA series have actually made a solid amount of money on the mobile platforms, but that does not mean that they're well designed when it comes to their controls. They have immense amount of buttons. They have way too many things you're going to have to do at once with your fingers to be able to play the game, and for a lot of casual gamers this will be scary. And casual gamers who prefer fast-paced gameplay and just something you can pick up and play will try avoid these games. A smart thing to do, as I said, is design it simple, design it for preferably a mobile platform first, and then when you've got it to work on a mobile platform as simple as possible and as efficient as possible, then consider porting it. Again, you can always start on the PC, but this means you'll probably have to compromise when you want to port it over to something simpler like an iPhone, because of the fact of the limitations of what you can have on the screen without disrupting the gameplay. And finally, I'd like to say, when designing a game, don't always think about making it look as pretty as possible. Graphic does not make a game fun. Look at a beautiful example of this is Angry Birds. Now, I'm not an Angry Bird fanboy. I've played the games and I think they're fun. They've got very simple graphics, cartoony graphics. Some might even say that their graphics are far too kiddie. They looks like they're made for kids. But that really doesn't matter, because the gameplay works and the graphics work beautifully with the gameplay. The cartoony graphics are, if you played Angry Birds with realistic graphics, would it be as much fun? Would it be as much appealing as it is? I don't think it would. And with that, I'm going to say, keep it simple. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Making a game does not have to be about making it as complicated and having as many rules as possible. Keeping it simple may actually attract more players to your game, and in the end will make you more money. Thank you.